G'day and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at some of the teams from our team calculator, build a team and we'll construct it using the tools available. Then we'll be able to build this team in the game and see how it plays out. So previously in our team calculator, you can see we've got our different teams that are calculated based on, max resist, max super resist, min total, min weak, and min super weak. Previously, we built our team when we were doing the session on the team calculator, which is available here in the information panel. We built a max resist team. We had, things like Excadrill, we had Tyranitar, we had Aegislash, we had Pidgeot Mega providing the Tailwind, we ran Quaquaval and Mega Meganium. So this category of calculated teams is based on excluding abilities that modify your resistances. We've now enabled when we deployed to production, we've added the abilities in. So where things like levitate, which comes up quite a bit in every single team, we've also got things such as, thick fat and sap sipher to give you a bit of grass immunity. We got, filter and earth eater if you want that ground immunity. If we have a look here, we've got some different options. We've got a Lucario mega team there. That might be cool if we built out, maybe put in some Primarina. But previously we built our max resist team on the exclude abilities. So I'm going to have a go this week at testing the max resist with abilities. We can also see a comparison of what this looks like and also what it's trying to achieve. So if we put our team in from before, we can then open that directly into Team Builder and that'll give us our selections here. I've added a total sum down the bottom. So you can see on our defensive tab, we can see this team is the maximum resist it was able to calculate whilst meeting the offensive goal of being, super effective against all the different types. We can see that's, a total of 34 and we've only got 6 not very effective. But our defensive is we've got 28 weaknesses and 47 resistances. And that's a comparison if we were to look at, not excluding abilities and we were to have a look at min weak as an example, we can scroll down and see this team only has 14 weaknesses and 40 resistances compared to our max resist team, which had, twice as many weaknesses and it has, 7 additional resistances across the board. So, maybe a min week team. We've also got min total, so we can have a look at that. Again, we can see it's a few more weaknesses than our 14 that it was getting, but we can see it's boosted our max resist or our resistance column up to 48, which is a little bit better than our max resist team. So, a min week team, min total team that we were looking at has some, decent, on paper scores. But as I said, I think for this session, we're going to try and build our, include abilities, our maximum resistance. We'll keep our Aegislash. We've used Rotom Heat before. I'm pretty keen to give Diggersby a go. We've used Aegislash and we'll keep with the Mega Meganium as that's kind of the only Mega that seems to fit in here given the current format. So these calculators will update, when there's new Pokemon added into the format. But we've got, some new Pokemon, Diggersby, Como O, and King Gambit to play around with. So let's get stuck into it. So yeah, we can open that straight in the team builder. We've got our Pokemon here. We're going to go through and do the abilities. So yeah, we want huge power. We've got some options here. So we'll go through those. And then King Gambit, we've got, a fair bit of physical attackers. So we really want that Defiant to kind of scare off any of the Intimidate users. Now, we have built Rotom Heat before. For me and my preferences, I typically go for something like this. Timid nature, 28 gets us pretty decent speed. 32 hit points with the citrus berry gives us some survivability. And then we've got that nasty plot there to give us some special attack. So that saves us a bit of time building out that. Aegis Slash is something that we built previously. Again, I was pretty happy with how that performed. We don't have to put the blade in there, but we went with leftovers, which gave us, that 25 hit point to make sure that we're divisible by that 16, and we can import that, have a look. So you can see that's given us 160 hit points. We've got, a bit of physical Iron Head. We've got that extra Shadow Sneak. Having Sword Stance would have been kind of good, but I think we've got some decent capability there. And yeah, we've also done a Mega Meganium, which I was pretty happy with. And again, if we import that, so we get the Mega Meganiumite, we've got the Weather Ball, Solar Beam, Dazzling Gleam, all the things that you'd want with your Mega Soul. And then, yeah, we've got a bit of speed, bit of special attack, and then the remaining in the hit points there. So let's crack in and have a look at our Diggers B. So we don't have a Focus Sash user, and we can decide where we put that one in. But so we've got, some items here. We'll probably maybe put, the black glasses on King Gambit. That seems to be quite popular. Not sure. Maybe we could go for the how much speed we got here. 150, 98. Maybe Diggersby could have Homo could have the choice scarf. That'll boost the speed right up. So first thing we'll do, we'll have a look at the coverage for Diggersby. So obviously Earthquake's going to be high up there, being ground, 100 base power. It's an excellent choice, and it's something that we'll definitely be grabbing. Then we've got, things like Mega Kick, Super Power, Gunk Shot if we want a bit of poison coverage. We can go back and have a look at the Pokedex. So yeah, we've got our abilities here, but we've got our Pokemon attack is doubled. So we'll definitely be looking at, some physical moves. So yeah, we've got a few options there. Yeah, that Mega Kick's good. 75 accuracy is pretty risky. So we can come down, whether we want super power. Yeah, we're definitely going to be grabbing the Earthquake. But we're probably going to go straight into singles for this one, and yeah, we definitely need a stab move. So again, we can filter this down to have a look. So yeah, if we're not going to go for Mega Kick, I think Body Slam, pretty cool. We've also got access to Quick Attack as well, so give us a bit of priority moving. So let's do this up. So if we go to our calculators and we put our Diggers B in, we can have a look at our abilities. So yeah, we'll see we're currently at 76. If we huge power, that'll take us up to 152, which is pretty good. And then as we should consistently be doing, checking the speed tiers. So yeah, we're not going to be able to outspeed this, whether we put a nature and points in or not. We've got our speed ties here with Basculegion. So, if we're threatening, or if they're going to be threatening us, obviously not with last respects, but with the wave crash, we can try and speed tie with them. Although I don't know if Diggersby is going to be our answer to Basculegion. So we can keep coming down, again, remembering that we're, grounded normal. So normal's not really super effective against anything, but, ground's good against, the poisons, electric. So again, we'll have a look to see what's up here. So it might be good if we try and outspeed, Tyranitar, get a big earthquake off, because we see a fair bit of those. I'm not sure we're going to be seeing any Beedrills. So again, a lot of this just changes based on, usage and what you see in the meta. And then yeah, if we don't invest in a speed nature, we just tie with. We definitely want to outspeed, a Skelly Dirge. We've seen a couple of those, and that'd be some big earthquakes. So yeah, we can put 32 SPs in. We can have a look if we go an adamant nature, it takes us up to 166. But with no nature, another way you can look at this and be like, well, if I put it in nature, I get 10% here, which gives me a bit more to spend over here. So then we're going to go with our Body Slam Earthquake. So we can come down here with the Body Slams 85, Earthquake's 100. So these are the top 10 values that generically increase the damage across the board. So we could try and keep that maxed out at, yeah, say 29, gives us 5 extra hit points, puts us up way into 210. So we know from our attack calculations video, probably don't need it to be that high. Somewhere between 180 and 198 is pretty good. And that allows us to just invest a bit more in the hit points. I think 198's not bad. That's with a 23. And that seems to be a good break point here for these. So something we can keep. We can increase that later if we want to. But that's also with no nature. So if we were going to go with adamant, you can see that the numbers change as well because we're accessing a different range now. Again, that's put us over the 210, so we can tighten that back up. So we're still at 198, but now we've got a bit more invested in hit points. So again, we're a bit speedy, a bit bulky. We're not outspeeding any of these, so we can see if that becomes an issue and come back to the drawing board if we need to. But otherwise, I'm okay with that. So we can go back to our team. Probably don't need that tab anymore. We've got our Diggersby, so let's import this. Yeah, and we've got the other thing we can do while we're here. So we can close those two tabs. We have a look at the held item. So we do have access to Silk Scarf if we want to bring Body Slam base power up to 102. Seems to find pretty consistent numbers. We've also got options for a choice scarf and a focus sash somewhere. But let's keep this with a silk scarf for now and just do some, and then that'll allow our quick attack to do a bit more damage. And then yeah, we'll throw a protect in there for now. So we've got our Rotom Heat complete, Diggersby. We've got 130 speed, so not the fastest thing on the board, but it's got a pretty decent life pool. The defenses are pretty low, but we know from our generic calculator that at this point, with our 97, it's better to do investment into our attack. So we'll keep with that. Our Aegislash, we're not investing anything in speed, so we've got a bit of speed on Diggersby, and then yeah, we've got pretty low attack even after investing 32 leftovers and adamant. So Diggersby is going to be doing some big damage with that double the huge power. Now we'll skip Como for a moment and we'll jump to King Gambit. So if we go back to our generic calculator, I mean, we can refresh just to reset, and we're looking at King Gambit. We were going to go with the black glasses because Sucker Punch is going to be huge. We've got Defiant, which won't calculate. And then you'll see here Auto Bulk may not be optimal for defensive stats because, yeah, it's at the moment without the Sucker Punch. If I just remove that, yeah, it's putting everything into special defense and it's, trying to close the gap and it's not successful at doing that. So again, we've got our Defiant to scare off physical attackers, but we've got, massive defense value. So again, we're putting our Sucker Punch in. We should get into the habit of always looking at speed first, though. So these are things we're never outspeeding, even with the nature. So if we can invest, we can get up to 112, which is, not a lot. We've got, whether we're trying to outspeed many Conkelders on the field, Abominables. So yeah, it's just going to stack everything in defense. And if I go auto, it's going to move it into hit points. So that might not be too bad. And then we've got the Kowtow Cleave as well. So we can have a look. So we can see Kowtow Cleave with our black glasses is 102 and our Sucker Punch with the black glasses is 84. So in this scenario, it recommends 32, 32 for some big damage. Whether we want a little bit more survivability or not, so we can drop this back, invest 20 or 24. So again, you can see it's just putting that extra points in special defense. Unless we go physical, then it's starting to fall. Then it's just maxing out defense and going into hit points. So you've got a bit of agency on how you want to do, whether you want to do a bit for both. I don't think in this scenario, putting 14 special defense isn't bad. because we've got 140 defense, which again, if we know from our defensive calculations, is above a bit of a threshold, and we can get 118 here. So we can bump that up. That takes us down to 115. We definitely want to keep it above 118. So I think that's a pretty solid build for our King Gambit. And then, yeah, we've got the other moves that we need to pick in. And usually it's something like Iron Head or Low Kick, but we've got Como with the fighting. So let's keep this as Iron Head. And then, yeah, we'll throw a Protect in there. We didn't do Nature and see how that changes things. So if we go Adamant, again, it sort of changes. 25 attacks, good. Does drop us a bit there. Puts our attack up to 198, so that's pretty equal to where Diggersby with his big damage was. So we can move the slider down a little bit. 187, maybe we do keep it up to that 198. So that's still 32, 25, 9. So does that, was that with that? That was with that. If we bring that back down, 124. All right, let's update that. So we're still 187. No, I wanted the 198. So we'll go with that. That gives us our adamant nature. So pop that over that, or you could even just pop that over that. And that saves having to do all those again. And that gives us our adamant. So 198, which is equivalent with our double bonus there. And then, yeah, we've got 114 special defense, 140 defense. It's pretty good. And yeah, 207 life's pretty huge. So I think King Gambit's in a good position here. Then we've got our Fighting Dragon. And we're going to go Choice Scarf, but again, we'll have a look at coverage. So yeah, it's got Draco Meteor and Close Combat, because if we look at the attack and special attack, it's, 130 attack, 120 special attack. So we could go special with our Homo. Have a look at the base power. We've got access to Draco Meteor. We've got Clanging Scales, which lowers the user's defense. So that's something that we've got an option to do. Also gives us access to Flamethrower and Aura Sphere. Rather than if we go physical, we're going to be rocking Close Combat, maybe, or Superpower. Gives us another access to Earthquake. But again, we want something. So here we can do Dragon. Yeah, we've got Outrage, Breaking Swipe, and then again, if we have a look at Special, that's user's defense. So it'll lower our defense every time we use it, but I think 110's pretty good, unless we just lower everything, our damage by 2. Again, having a look at Physical, just sort of weighing up the options, because we could just as easily do Dragon Claw. Then if we do our Fighting, probably not. I mean, we could go body press. That's certainly an option. We've also got access to Drain Punch. Then we've got, Superpower Close Combat. We've got no one, or we've got this is going to be our Choice Scarf user. Don't have to, but we could. We've got Black Glasses. We're not running anything with our Focus Sash. So maybe as an alternative, we could put our not Focus Band, Focus Sash, and then we don't have to really care about any of that defensive stuff, and we can just fully invest in a bit of speed, bit of damage, and then in that case we probably might go Jolly. So that gives us a Focus Sash user. Then if we're doing Choice Scarf, so we'll have a look at our generic SP calculator for MOO, and we'll have a look at our Choice Scarf speed. So if we were trying to outspeed, we'll need a nature. So we can do Jolly or Timid, depending which way we go. Then we need a lot to beat Alakazam Mega. So that's something to consider. But we were going to go for Clanging Scales, which means we probably need to go Timid, because if we were going for our Dragon Special, Clanging Scales, so we'll have to go for a Timid nature. Still, we'll be able to outspeed Alakazam with 31. Got our Clanging Scales here, and then we can do like an Aura Sphere if we wanted to do our fighting. We've got fighting, a Focus Blast if we want that 70% accuracy. we've also got access to vacuum wave as well. So that gives us a few options for like the third move, but we're locking in a choice scarf, so we probably don't need that much at all. So we can have a look at. So we've got also access to things like flamethrower and flash cannon. So I think those might be our other moves. So if we need 31 speed, it recommends about 30 special attacks. So let's grab that. We've got pretty decent defense and special defense. So maybe this will go better than I'm thinking. But then yeah, we'll need our flash cannon and flamethrower. That gives us a bit of speed steel, speed fire, speed fighting, and dragon. So I think that will give us some decent coverage. We've got decent speed. We've got our choice scarf in here. And then that's pretty much the team theoretically calculated out. So yeah, this is with our max resist. And then we have to pick an ability for our fighting dragon. And this is where it gets a bit complicated because we can see bulletproof gives us immunity to bullet moves. Soundproof gives us immunity to sound-based moves, and Overcoat gives us immunity to powder moves. So if we have a look at the Pokedex and we have a look at moves, so if we were to go and be immune to our powder moves, so we can see here we've got Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, Rage Powder, Poison Powder, Magic Powder, Powder Ring. Yeah, don't see much play. Cotton Spore, Cotton Guard, let's have a look at bullet moves. So you've got a wider variety of bullet moves available in the format. Things like Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb would certainly shut down things like Gengar. Zap Cannon, when Raichu comes in, could be good. And then our last one was to be immune to sound moves. So again, we can come in here, have a look at sound. We can see Perish Song. We could be immune to that, which could be helpful. Again, Sing could be useful. Torch Song, Sparkling Aria, Primarina and Skellydirge. And yeah, we've got our immune to Noble Roar if anyone's going to be mirror matching. Eerie Spell, no one's running. So Bug Buzz. So again, you can have a look to here, see what's useful. I'm thinking Bullet might be a bit more popular. So I'm going to go with being bulletproof for now, and then we'll see how that plays out. And just something to keep in the back of your mind that maybe soundproof or overcoat might be a better choice in some matchup. So depending on how often we encounter that, would be a good reason to switch. But otherwise, we've got the team, we've got the moves, we've got the items, Citrus Berry, Focus, Sash, Leftovers, Choice Scarf, Black Glasses, and the Meganiumite. So we'll poker paste this out, paste the team in here, and then we've got max resist. I'll put me in there, and then this is max resist, including ability. So we'll submit that, and that'll be the team. So I'll take some time and build the team, and then we'll test it out on singles. I don't know how well it's going to be in doubles. Maybe you would swap the Mega Meganium for Whimsicott, but then you'd have to put some other um, Mega in the team somewhere. Maybe wait for some other, Pokemon in the format. But for now, yeah, I think this would be a decent singles team. So I'll build the team, and we'll hit the singles ranked ladder in the next episode. So, or check for that in the coming days. Otherwise, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate your support. Until next time, take care and enjoy. Thank you.